The artist is nothing without the gift, but the gift is nothing without the work. That was written by Émile Zola, a French artist and philosopher in the 1800s. Hello, I'm Glenn Ford. Welcome to the second in our series on finding the time to write. Now, in the last session, we discussed the real problem that we have. Now, we tend to cover it up by calling it not enough time to write, or some other such excuse. I'm using the word excuse here because we tend to focus on a symptom. But the real problem is simply not being able to get our book written. And that's our problem, not lack of time. Examining the problem led us to the work equation. When that equation gets out of balance, then we can't get any writing done. We can't get our books finished. Cool so far? Okay. Now, in the next 6 minutes or so of this session, we're going to talk about the solution to our problem. So how do you get the work equation back into balance? How do you make sure that you are really going to be able to write your book? Now, the answer is that you need to deal with all three elements. Doing just one won't cut it. That's why you get advice that doesn't work. Remember the last session? We had three pieces there that they just don't work. Yes, the solution is personal. My solution won't work for you. Your solution won't work for me. That's fine. And yes, you can make poor decisions and poor choices. But that's highly unlikely. You can do it, but no, it's not likely. Nevertheless, the advice you get won't work for anyone, except in a few unusual cases. It's the advice itself that's wrong. Now, in the last session, I gave you three most common versions of advice that is used to fix the problem. You'll notice that figure out why you're writing, visualize the result, are focused on building the desire to write. Just get it done is focused on the system. Okay, being generous here. Some people just like being cantankerous. They make their living by doing that. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and focus on the positive here and sort of presume that they're really talking about getting your system right. Now, the fourth most common piece of advice I really didn't mention, but it's usually referred to as building a time management skills. They focus on the available time portion of the equation, and that's why they don't work. I mean, they're all attempting to fix all the problem by only fixing part of the problem. And since they don't fix the whole, yes, they fix the little bit that they're worrying about, and then just something else just goes wrong. So, unless you fix the whole, you're never going to fix the whole. So how do we deal with the whole problem? How do we deal with everything? That's where the three elements comes in. Now, the first element is desire. To build that up, we need to focus on motivating ourselves. No different than having an employee, right? It's just standard manager. We have to work too. We have to manage ourselves. And part of that management is to keep yourself focused and interested in producing. In other words, motivated. Now, there's two parts to this. First is to figure out what will motivate you. Figure out why you're writing, as the guru said. Not exactly bad advice, just incomplete. The second part is that you need to continually reinforce that motivation. See, motivation fades with time. It's not a one-time effort. You need to continually motivate. Now, the second element is time. Now, let's get practical here for a second. If you don't have at least 4 hours to write per week, you're never going to finish a book. Sorry. Don't mean to bear bad news, but that's the way it is. See, even at 4 hours a week, you're going to have a problem maintaining your motivation over the 2 months it will take you to write a short 100-page book. And that's about a minimum book size. So you need to find the time, and that means you may have to adjust your current schedule. You may have to involve yourself in, quote unquote, time management skills. Look, we're all busy today. I don't know anyone who can just sit around for 4 hours a week. And I don't know anyone who has a spare 24 hours in any 1 week to spend. If you want to write, you're going to have to become more efficient and more effective with your time. You're going to have to steal minutes from other tasks in order to build up your 4 hours a week. Now, finally, the third element is actually 3 different pieces, which we've combined into one just in order to understand and use it. Now, overall, I call it the effort involved. Okay? The solution to that piece of the pie lies in what we term your writing system. Now, I'm changing hats here for a second and talking from a process analyst point of view. Okay? That's why I use the word we. It's plural, not royal. Okay? A system, any system, doesn't matter whether it's IT, process, like manual, or whatever. A system is made up of process, environment, and agents. How you write is the process. Now, you're the agent in this case, so we're really talking about your work habits. And by environment, we're talking about where you write and its effect on you. Mix them together, you have a writing system. And your writing system determines how long it will take you to write your book and how easy it's going to be. So the solution to finding the time to write is really a combination of motivation, system, and stealing time from your busy day. Now here's the kicker. You're going to have to determine the details of the solution yourself. Why? Because it needs to be customized for you. What works for me won't work for you. What works for you won't work for me. However, there are commonalities, little ideas that I can share with you, little ideas that you can share with me, from which you can pick and choose exactly what you will use in order to solve your problem in writing, in order to find the time to write. And that's what the next session is going to be all about. We'll give you some tips and some ideas that you can use to find the time to write. I hope you enjoyed this session and that you found it useful. In our next and last session, I'm going to give you 3 practical tips to help you develop your solution to the problem of finding the time to write. And I'll also have a very special offer for you. So please join me. Talk to you later.
Thank you.